Hello, yeah, welcome to the Real Talk channel once more. So, we are back today to continue from our discussion yesterday. Our discussion yesterday was on the death of authentic men, and we see that I think that conversation was centered around um, authenticity in the sense of gender roles. And but today we are going to center in maybe in another aspect of that conversation. By the way, um, click on the subscribe button. So I think, yeah, in talking about masculinity, in this subject, uh, we see that there is need in every society. A man is a man because he's masculine, and women are women because they are feminine. So, and I think we should all be comfortable in our natural, roles. You know, nature, nature. You cannot confuse nature, or you cannot mistake nature. It is what it is. Really, it's that simple. So, is somewhat heartbreaking that for one reason or the other, which are especially parochial and myopic, people try to you know, narratives that confuse gender roles and make them look or seem more complex than they actually are. You know, what I'm trying to say is, in every society, it is important. You know, for example, um, a man's masculinity is biology. It has to do with biology. There's nothing superficial about it. You know, for example, testosterone is what actually the chemistry that actually brings about some um, character differences, or you know um, disposition difference in disposition between a woman and a man. you know what I'm trying to say now is important. As a man's choices and decisions most times should be centered on reason, should be based on reason more than emotions. Yes, emotions um, are emotions in certain aspects is more of a woman's thing. You know, it's more of a woman's thing. But when it comes to um, making certain critical decisions or choices, making choices in one's life, you know, it's very important that a man's decision or choice is based on more on reason, because nature has actually uh, um, empowered us in that regard. So whatever whatever feels different is maybe due to our exposure and surrounding, or whatever, what have you, even sometimes peer pressure and all stuff like that. But a man's choices should be based on reason. you know and it should be very firm, you know because it's very important. Emotional decisions are usually self-destructive. They're usually self-destructive and counterproductive. Yeah, emotions are also good, but that is where women bring the balance. There are little, of course, emotions can bring balance in your making choices, but let it not let level up, with reason. In any choice you are making, you see that emotions are getting the better part of you and relegating reason or tilting higher than reason, then you know that that's probably the wrong choice to make, and it's not the right one. No matter what it may look like, or how right it may seem or look like. So that is very important. That is very important. And when we say emotions, it's not like it's bad. It's not like it's really bad. The only thing bad about emotions is when you don't have the ability to control it. You should always take charge. You should always be in full control of your emotion. You should always regulate it with reason. So when you are not in control or in charge of your emotions, that is when it's bad, and that is when it can lead to unfortunate choices. That's when it can lead to unfortunate choices, and that's not good when it comes to manly duties. Yes, today society is very complicated, and it has become as complicated as we have enabled it. So these things are not as easy as they sound. Let a woman have her place. Let her have her place. And I think there are certain people in a man's life that most times emotion rather than reason usually gets the better parts of a man. When it comes to family, blood affiliation, when you are related to someone by blood, it's a very strong bond, and sometimes the choices you make that affect them are not conquered by reason. Sometimes it's difficult, depending what the circumstances are, they are conquered by emotions. But sooner or later you realize why you shouldn't have let your emotions conquer such choices. So there are specific scenarios where usually a man's emotion gets the better part of him. It has to do with one, where the people concerned are he's related to them by blood, be it siblings, be it your parents, even be it your distant relatives. Sometimes it gets the better, your emotions get the better part of you, but sooner or later you still see that it wasn't the best to do. The second one is, of course, the significant other. When the significant other is involved, maybe your loved one, your partner or stuff like that, the woman in your life. Sometimes when you have to make choices or decisions that involve them, your emotions get the better part of you. Yeah, so you see that nature empowered us with the necessary things we need, to conquer our lives and make impact. But sometimes, it's our misuse of this empowerment or privileges that causes trouble. you know. So it is not, it is only wrong. It's only wrong in deploying, in making your choices. It's only wrong when you let emotions get the better of it. But it's not wrong when emotions are involved. But try to balance it with reason. You know, there is need for balance in anything you are doing. There's need for balance, even when you don't be on the extreme on anything. You know, it always leads to extremism. Always leads to, you know, it's always destructive. It's always destructive because it blocks your mind from learning, relearning, and unlearning. When you are extreme about anything, your mind is blocked from any other, from even superior arguments, you know, or new ideas, or any. Your mind is blocked. You just know that. That's why extremism is bad. But moderation keeps your mind open for learning, you know, for sifting knowledge that it serves you better than, you know, removing the chaff and retaining the seed. So that is why extremism is bad. So it brings balance. Balance is, in anything you are dealing with, you have balance, you have moderation, you are good to go, you know. So yeah, those are the two instances where, you know, men usually get it wrong with handling their emotions, you know. So that's why it's important that you have to be conscious of these things. You have to be conscious. Yeah, it's good to love, of course. Yeah, the love of your life, of course, you know, your family, of course, you love them so dearly that sometimes your emotions get the better part of you, you know. But just make sure that there is a measures up. You know, make sure there is a measures up so that, you know, it will work well in the long run. Because if emotions measures up in the long run, you know, you see why it was a bad call. You know, so by then it might be too late, or it might be uncertain. So that is our message for today, man. That is our conversation for today. Feel free to drop your comments, you know, for some correspondence, and like I said, click the subscribe button, and on our next engagement we'll think of, there's actually there are a lot to talk about. It's just the time, you know. I just try to steal out time from my busy schedule to do something, because I'm actually enjoying this, and I hope that, you know, very soon this will be a wider conversation, and, you know, where we can treat variety of things and exchange ideas. It's actually a therapeutic exercise, and I encourage you to engage more. Thank you.